So we have roughly an hour together. And usually, here is where both of us will talk about ourselves a little bit and introduce ourselves and do all that great stuff. But I'm one of those people that just really wants to give a lot of information to you. So I'm going to cut the bio stuff, because that you can look at the app, the great app that they have. You can look at our website. And I'm going to tell Betty, she's been featured on the glasshammered.com 2015 last year. So look that up. You can Google it, and actually saw other articles of you on there too. So read that. Okay, so today we're just going to cut that out because I want to use this time wisely for you. Okay? Is that okay? Okay. So this is Betty from Moody's, and I'm Nozomi Morgan, and I have my own coaching and consulting company, and that's the reason why I'm doing this today. Okay. So, have you ever thought, why did he or she get that promotion when I am so much smarter, better, qualified, or I've been in this company longer? I'm capable. I work hard. I'm responsible. What's going on? Why isn't my boss recognizing me? Have you ever felt this way? Yes? Do you know colleagues that feel this way? Yes? Well, so you're not the only ones. So there's some stats from the Center for Talent Innovation Study. It's 2011, so it's a little bit old, but it hasn't changed that much. So the population, Asian Americans, are around, I think right now is around 6%, but at this time it was around 5%. And they constitute 18% of the student body at Harvard, which actually Betty went, and 24% at Stanford, which I think you went too. So she fits into those numbers. But despite those numbers and achievement level, the study says that Asian Americans account for just 1.4% of Fortune 500 CEOs and 1.9% of corporate officers overall. Less than 2%. 63% of Asian male, and I don't know why there's not female here, so don't ask me why, but male feel stalled in their careers. A higher rate than what's reported among African Americans, Hispanic, or Caucasian men. So you can see there's a difference among different groups. So we say minorities, but we can't just group all of us together. And you're like, okay, so what's going on in companies? What are companies doing or thinking? So 86% of business and HR leaders believe they do not have an adequate leadership pipeline. 79% believe they have a significant retention engagement problem. And there's, you might have heard this, but it said in the US, 70% of workers are disengaged. 75% are struggling to attract and recruit the top people that they need. So companies are struggling with this. Is there anyone from HR here in the room? Yes? Okay. Tell me if this is right. The top 3 things that are keeping you up at night. Ensuring employees remain engaged and productive. Yes? Okay. Retaining key talent in today's recovered economy. Yes? Okay. And developing leaders. Yes? Okay, good. I had the right information. So companies, HR leaders who are experts in this is what they're worried about. So companies want you to be leaders. They want you to be engaged. They want you to succeed. That's what this is telling me, right? Yes? Yes. Right? You're working hard for this. So, talking about Asian Americans, or minorities in this sense, what are companies doing? There's a lot of resources out there. One, executives are sponsoring ERGs, or there's ERGs in companies. There's training on diversity and inclusion. We hear that. I mean, this is a diversity forum. And there's trainings on unconscious bias these days. Companies are providing leadership trainings. They offer coaching and mentorship programs. I'm a coach, so I get hired by companies. An executive sponsor. So these are resources that companies are offering. The reality is there's still a gap. So today, what we're going to cover. So again, we have a really short amount of time, so I'm going to do my best to do a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. Is one, what you are not going to do to develop a strong personal brand and executive presence. Number two, 3 things you absolutely need to have to get an effective executive presence. 10 steps to develop your authentic personal brand and develop executive presence. And at the end, I'm going to share some resources to you so you can jumpstart your journey. Does it sound good? Yes. Okay, awesome. So, why is executive presence important? It's important because, according to the Center for Talent Innovation study, they responded that executive presence counts for 26% of what it takes to get promoted. Who in this room wants to get promoted? Okay, who in this room are honest people?
Honest people.
Okay, let me ask again. Do you want to be promoted? Yes or no? Yes, raise your hand. Okay, awesome. Right? Most of us wants to be promoted. Why? Because we always want to be better. Promoted doesn't mean it's not a bad thing. It's always a good thing. So executive presence is so important because it's 26% of what it takes to get promoted. So what is executive presence? So here I have, I guess you guys see it here, the ability to project gravitas, confidence. Do you agree? Yes. So let's talk about, think about someone that has executive presence that you know in your company. Do you have someone in mind right now? Yes. Okay. I want a real someone. You have to be able to name that person. Yeah? Okay. So tell me about that person. What do you see in that person? How would you describe the person? Do you want to start?
How would I describe that person?
Yeah.
Just calm.
Calm?
And just poised.
Poised, okay. What else? Yeah. Open for discussion. If you can't read my handwriting, use your imagination. Okay, what else? Smiling. Good. What else? Command the room. Confidence and command the room. Confidence. Command. What else? Elegant. What else? Yep. Integrity. Yep. Trustworthy and dependable. Does anyone have something else to add?
Inspiring.
Inspiring?
Inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Inspiring. Strength? Strength? I first thought you said strange. So strength, okay. That's what I heard, strength. Awesome.
Accessible.
Accessible, okay. Intelligent. Okay, I know, so because, I don't know how many people we have in this room, but each of you will have your own description of what executive presence looks like, or what the person that you have in mind, you can describe that person. So I'm sure there's more to this. And how do they exude this? It's through like appearance, right? Verbal and nonverbal communication. For example, I can stand like this, or I can stand like this. I can smile, or I can not smile, right? I can look really serious. Presentation skills, how they facilitate the meetings. There's a lot of ways you see the executive presence. So where does executive presence come from? Effective executive presence can only come from having a strong personal brand. And this morning at the panel, forgot which person said this, but someone talked about having a unique story. So each of you are unique. So each of you should have your own story. This is exactly the same thing. When you say personal brand, it means you have your own brand. And executive presence, you can change your hairstyle, you can put makeup on, you can have a really good looking suit, you can do all of that. But it means nothing if you don't have a strong personal brand. And we're going to talk about that. So why? What is personal brand? Personal brand is something that will become your compass, your guiding principle, will help you to, and Betty uses this word, to focus. Yeah? It will tell you what is right and wrong for you. It will tell you which way to go. Today, again, at the panel, they talked about we're all really busy. There's always something that's urgent. How do you decide what's important? You need to know how to make those decisions. And that comes from knowing what's most important to you. There are characteristics of a strong personal brand. Reliable, predictable, trustable. So I have the Apple logo up there. It's a good example for a strong, it's not a personal brand, but it's a brand. So those three, I think we have it actually up here. We have trustworthy, trustable, maybe not reliable, and predictable. And sometimes people say, why do you want to be predictable? But that means people won't know that they can trust you, know that you're going to produce results, know that you're going to do your best. That's what I mean by predictable. It doesn't mean you're boring. It's a completely different story. They know that you'll perform. That's what I mean by predictable. So how do you create a strong personal brand? So this is my 3 C's, okay? So now you have 2 sets of 3 C's to remember. So strong personal brands have clarity, consistency, and continuity, right? You need to be very clear. We need to know what it is, and we need to know what you stand for. That's the clarity. Consistency. You need to be the same brand wherever you go. You have to be, so if this is my personal brand, what you see right now, I have to have the same presence. I have to be sending the same message wherever I go, unless you'll be confused. In the marketing world, I actually have a strong marketing background. That's what I did before I became a coach. We say, confused customers don't buy, right? Because you don't know what to do. So you need consistency. Continuity. You can't just do it for a couple of days or a couple of months or a year. It has to keep on going. Your personal brand takes time. It's something you build up every day, one step at a time. So, some people say, fake it till you make it. Who's done this? Raise your hand. Okay. And then how did that work for you? Fine? Good. Good. So, it works, but not all the time. It works, but you can't sustain it. Remember the 3 C's? Clarity, consistency, continuity. Fake it till you make it. Usually you don't really make it. You just keep on faking it. Okay? So, You're not alone, whoever wrote, the people who raise your hands. So 38% of Asians say, according to the Center for Talent Innovation study from 2013, Asians say they deliberately change their personal story to bolster their professional image. But you saw the numbers at the very beginning. We haven't gotten that far. So there's something there. So one thing I do not recommend you to do, especially if you're feeling stuck. So when you're younger or when you're relatively new, yes, fake it till you make it works. Some aspects it works. But if you really want to become a strong leader, a successful leader, not just for a day, but for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the rest of your life, you have to stop faking it because you're not going to make it. Yeah.
Push back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think
Yeah.
we suffer what's called the confidence gap. And so whether or not outwardly people think we're faking it, internally we feel we're faking it because we feel that it's such a stretch opportunity that we've been given. And so we feel we're not there yet. And I know I personally felt that way, and I still feel that way at times, that the role I have is so much bigger than I thought, when I took it on.
Yeah.
So I do feel like I'm an imposter and I'm faking it. But then over time, it becomes more natural. Mm-hmm. So I feel that the faking it is part of feeling comfortable with discomfort. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that necessarily is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that, we all approach things differently individually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so for some of us, we have to be able to embrace that feeling too, that we're going to be uncomfortable and not just settle on always feeling that we're going to feel great and comfortable and confident every time, because then we won't move to the next stage and we won't stretch ourselves. So that's how I feel when I say that I have and continue to fake it till I make it.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with you. So actually in my coaching and training, what I always say to my clients, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay, so getting used to always being uncomfortable. But that's not fake. So in my words, so going back to, it's just a difference of language, is that I don't think that's faking, right? Because you're being comfortable being uncomfortable. So knowing that if you want to grow, you're always going to be uncomfortable. So so being uncomfortable is not a bad thing. So
Thank you. When you say being comfortable with being uncomfortable, I'm thinking that it's even okay to just say, wow, this is a really big responsibility that I have now, and I would like for all of you to join me in whatever as we go on this journey. But I don't know if you have to fake it. It's okay to say, this is a lot more than I thought it would be, and we're going to do this kind of, together.
Yeah, so that's a great point too. So owning that it's uncomfortable, owning that it's hard, it's difficult. Yeah, so I love this. So thank you so much for sharing. This is amazing. So that's exactly this picture. So there's always a gap, right, if you want to go further. So this comes from 2016 Asia Society's Asian Pacific Americans Corporate Survey. It came out yesterday. So last night I received this. So I quickly changed the slides. So the respondents said, 21% said they're not encouraged or provided opportunities to pursue global assignments. 20% said they're not provided opportunities to gain P&L experience. So what I'm seeing here is that they're basically saying or feeling there's a bamboo ceiling. You heard that term? Yeah. And it's easy to say, oh, no, it's not. But this is a reality, right? You're feeling this. And companies are trying to do things like this forum, right? Their sponsors are trying to change things. I know we talked last night, Stella, her company is working really hard with ERGs. They're all trying to do something. The problem is, or the challenge I should say, is that companies are companies. They're big. They move in slow pace. Can you afford to wait until they catch up? Are you going to wait until they come and tap on your shoulder and say, hey, do you want a global assignment? Are you going to wait until they come around your cubicle and say, hey, I think you're ready for a P&L responsibility? I would say, stop waiting. The game changer is you. Yes, I know there is a ceiling that you might see. But if you keep on waiting that to go away, I don't know if we're all going to be here. So you have to be proactive, right? Leaders are people that make things happen. So if you want to be promoted, if you want to be a leader, you have to walk your talk and start from you. If you want to lead a team, you've got to be the leader of your own life and show and lead by example. So that's what I call being promotable. Make sense? Okay. So what if I told you you can actually get noticed without changing who you are? To be your authentic self. Would you like to know how? Yeah? Good. I would be really sad if you said no. I have this system that I walk through my clients and the corporate programs that is 10 steps. And today, so we, like I said, we only have an hour. I guess at this time we only have like 30 minutes left. So I can't go through all of them, but I want you to know it's possible. You can be your authentic self. You don't have to change who you are. You're just going to tweak yourself and you're going to apply strategies and tactics. And by doing that, you can stay authentic to who you are, but show up in a bigger and better way. Okay, but before that, this is what I see a lot. There's top 3 mindset blocks, and we kind of covered it a little bit, so I'm going to go really quick. 1 is if I just work hard, someday they'll recognize me. I just need to work a little bit more harder than others. When I'm ready, someone will come and ask me to be promoted, or they'll come on a silver platter. Or, this is just the way it is. They like this certain type of people. It's not for me. I don't want to take risks. Does any of these sound familiar to you? Yeah? These are mindset blocks. This is not true. If you believe it to be true, it'll become your own reality. But it's not, because there are people that get promoted, right? Those less than 2% people, they made it there. Do you think they were thinking like this? Do you think that's how they got there? No. They decided that is not their reality, okay? So mindset blocks are great because they're just up here. So if you work on here, they'll go away. So I want to do a little exercise for you guys. So I want you to think, what are the limiting beliefs and mindset blocks that hold you back from achieving what you want in your career and life? I just want to take just a few minutes. I want you to think about that. What do you think might be holding you back? And if it helps, you can close your eyes or just be quiet. This is a safe place for all of you, so just think about that. I want you to write it down. Just at least one, okay? More than one is even better. Just look up and Just look over this side. Now I guess you can't see outside, but just look up so I know. Looks like half of the room is ready, so who's the brave person who'd like to share? No? What? Okay, Stella.
I feel that I need to learn a lot more.
Okay.
You know, that being...
Want to say it to the room?
Okay, sure. It's that feeling that I think I know where I am or what I know about my current position, but I feel a little bit deficit on the position that I'm going to move on to, and I'd like to learn more about the position. But somebody had told me that, gosh, you had a lot of experience, and you're the perfect candidate for this position. But maybe having that confidence level that to assure me that I am qualified for that position. I think it's going back to our mindset that we need to know 100% of that position. And there's just no way to get to that 100% level because you really have to learn about the new position while you're on that position because there are a lot more challenges that you cannot even imagine or envision by just sitting here and thinking about it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of my limiting blocks.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you. So, I love what you said, actually. So, if I would to kind of group that, it's that it can show up in different ways, but I'm not good enough yet, or I need to do more to get there. So there's an interesting, actually, study, and I don't have it in the slides, but there's a gender difference to that too. So there's a study that was done and showed that we always have to be like 100% ready, but when you look at men, they still apply when they're only like 60-something. So that's like a gender difference. But yeah, so it's amazing, right? And that's how they meaning men in this sense, that's how they get promoted because they go for it while you're waiting to get ready. By that time, it's already filled up, right? Anyone else like to share? Yeah. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Pradeep.
Pradeep.
So one of the roadblocks that I feel is I need to know everything.
Yes.
Or I should know everything to get the job done.
Yes.
Even if I have a team, I still have to know each and every part of it.
Yeah. Thank you. You know, a lot of people, who else have felt that way? Yes? So, in reality, I guess my question would be, can you? Is it possible to know everything? Right, exactly, right? So again, it's here. You can't. So it's interesting, all these things. It seems, and it's like a broken radio that you hear it all the time, and it's not like anyone taught you that. But it's up here. I'm sure there's others, but I really want you to think about that and see, is that really possible? So for, in your case, is it possible? Is it really necessary to know everything? Like how much information do you need? Do I actually already have everything? You know, I want you to think about that, okay? So this is what, let me see, actually, go up. Okay. So what I see is that, especially when we talk about Asian Americans, as we saw earlier in the stats, that you're all, if everyone in this room, I know you're intelligent. I know you're capable. I know you're responsible. You already have everything. And you are here, so this guy who's looking over, That's where you are right now. And there's a place that you want to be, but there's that gap. In this case, it says leap of faith. And what I see in a lot of people, not just those top 3 mindset blocks, the biggest, the most absolutely biggest challenge that I see through my clients and even with my friends. I went to business school approximately 10 years ago. And so I see a lot of my friends. A lot of them are having a great career. They get stuck. They're stuck, but they don't know why, because they're really smart, and they've done everything, but they just don't know. And the biggest problem that I see is that actually they don't really know what they want. They don't really know where they want to be. They say they want to do better. What does better mean? I want to be promoted. What does that really mean? Not clear enough. So the big question is, who do we really want to become? We say, become better leaders. What does that look like? What does a better leader look like? And a lot of us have not had the chance to stop and think about, really, who do I want to become? Because the leader you and the person who you are today are not 2 separate people. You're not going to birth the leader out of you. Yeah? Does that make sense? You're the same person. So you need to know what that person that you want to become, what is that person? Who is that person? What does that person look like? What's important to that person? It seems such a simple question, but I bet a lot of you have not had the chance to ask that question to yourself. And I know that because I was the same way.